Hey folks, Jamie Stokes from Royal LePage. I want to touch base on how to get into the housing market. So I don't want to get into um, the financials of it too much. I'm just going to no crunching numbers or anything like that. No savings plan. I've touched base on those in the past in videos, but I want to do a video today. First off, I'm going to say that in order to get into the housing market, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. I knew somebody years ago. She was a Sri Lankan lady, and she worked constantly. She was never home. She had two teenage sons. I think she was a single parent, but she worked constantly, and her eating habits were, she would bring a lunch to work. She wouldn't eat out. She would work all day, and she would eat very inexpensive foods. No, I'm going to crack a joke here and say no avocado on toast or anything like that. She actually, when she bought food, she bought it in bulk. And when I say bulk, I mean in her garage, she had a skid of rice. I'm not even kidding. So that's excellent. She was making sacrifices. That's a pretty boring thing to eat every day. Yeah, you can spice it up or whatever, but she's making sacrifices in order to make home ownership affordable. I know she rented out her basement as well, and having tenants or renting out a part of your house is always a good idea as long as you have proper insurance and your proper contracts in place. So that's an excellent way to have some additional income in there. You can, for your mortgage purposes, write off half of whatever your tenant is paying for rent. So if rent is you're renting out the basement for $1,200, you can write off $600 of that. If you want to get more in depth with that, I'm not a mortgage broker, so we send people over to mortgage brokers to discuss these things. I stay within my lane. I don't touch base on law. I don't give legal advice. I don't give mortgage advice, nothing like that. I leave that to the professionals. I'm a professional realtor, so I stick with real estate. So past generations, our parents and grandparents, that was another way. And I see this in immigrants quite often. I admire this because they're making sacrifices. They know that in order to have a home and own a home, you need to make sacrifices. Cut down on what you spend on groceries, cut down on utilities, change your spending habits, things like this. But in past generations, we had children, parents, and grandparents living together. Yes, this is fairly common still, but this is an excellent way for generations to live together, keep family close, especially when there's children involved. Keep family close and work together in order to save up in order to buy your own home. So parents with children will live with their parents. their children get to see their grandparents constantly, which is fantastic, and they're able to save more. It's more affordable to live this way. It's pretty difficult for some families for the parents to just give their children money, tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to buy a home. Typically, they're at retirement age or close to, so they're not really able to co-sign on a house or contribute much, anyways. So I also want to touch base on an article that was written that talks about 10 cities in Ontario, here in Ontario, not in the GTA, but in Ontario, where you can buy a 3-bedroom house for less than $300,000. So with the way that employment is working these days, a lot of people are working remotely, and this is excellent because some of these small towns here are absolutely beautiful. They're wonderful places to live. Some of them are farming communities. They don't have the hustle and bustle of downtown Toronto, which I know is appealing for some, but me personally, and a lot of people that I talk to, they like the simpler, quieter living. Like, who wants to sit in traffic for 2 hours every day on their way home or commute 2 hours? Some of these places, if you do have to work in the GTA, some of these places will have a decent driving distance. And I know there's been people who have bought their own houses in some of these areas. And in order to afford this, they're commuting, an hour and a half, 2 hours every day for work. So I'm going to touch base on these places here. The first one on my list, and excuse me here, I've just got them written down on a notepad. But the first one on the list is Sault Ste. Marie. The next one is North Bay, Windsor, Sarnia, Greater Sudbury, Chatham, Kent, which we know is a farming area, Pembroke, Timmins, Hamilton, and South Dundas. So some of these areas are a decent ways away from the GTA. If you have family or friends in the GTA, you're probably thinking to yourself, I don't want to move there. There's nothing there. I don't know anybody there. But life changes. We adapt to how life works. And if home ownership is a big enough goal to you, you can invest in these places now rather than paying rent. Invest in these places now, buy them, own them for a few years, turn around and sell them. Yes, the housing market in the GTA is going to continue to rise as it will out here, probably at a much quicker pace. But at least you own your own home rather than just paying rent and paying somebody else's mortgage, right? So that, going in with others to buy your own place or living with your parents or family in order to save up to buy a house, these are great ways. I know, we're very spoiled nowadays. We don't want to have to live with anybody else. We don't have to, we don't want to have to make any sacrifices. But home ownership here especially in the GTA, in Canada in general, is not easy. You're not going to be able to afford your own place just trying to save up by yourself typically. I mean, you need a minimum of 5% down in order to buy your own place. 20% down if you don't want to add additional fees for mortgage insurance. But make some sacrifices. Own your own house. It's wonderful. I know people who live in some of these areas and they don't have any complaints. Dan, for example, he's a car salesman. He's one of the top car salesmen out where he is in Windsor. So shout out to Dan. If you're looking for a Volkswagen, go see Dan. And excellent guy. He has a place out there. He seems to enjoy living out there. I know other people that live in Sudbury. I know people that live in Timmins, Hamilton. So these are all areas where even if you live in the GTA, like I live in Durham region, and it's pretty crowded here. It's not crazy like Toronto, but it's pretty crowded here. I like having a little bit of space. I love gardening. So some of these areas are actually very appealing to myself personally. I think it's not so much necessarily where you live, it's your neighbors that make or break your place. So if you get along well with your neighbors, even though it's not the nicest area or not the nicest house, if you have wonderful neighbors, that makes life that much more enjoyable. So neighbors are huge, and if you're an easy person, easy to get along with, you're kind, whatever, you won't have any problems living in any of these areas here. So I suggest, rather than paying somebody else's mortgage, if you can look into some of these areas that I've suggested here, these are great ways. I've even seen houses in some of these areas for listed around 200K as a 4-bedroom. I mean, they're not fancy or spectacular houses. A lot of these houses are older houses. They're brick houses, 2 stories or bungalows or whatever, but they're nice houses. They don't need a lot of work, if any. Some of these are move-in ready that I've looked at, and they're perfect. If you're working remotely or you don't mind a bit of traveling for work or making some sacrifices in order to make home ownership a reality, these are some great options. So, if you have to live with family for a couple of years while you save up, live with your parents, who cares? You're not out here to impress anybody. You're here to reach your goal of home ownership. So who cares if you live with your parents or what, your friend who got some break in life or, is with a couple or married into money or, God knows what, who cares? It doesn't matter. As long as you're happy in life, go and do what's best for you. Save up, go and see if you can get yourself one of these houses in these areas. It's great. You can finally say that you own a home. If you don't, if you're still renting, life takes us wherever it takes us. Not all of us have the same opportunities, or not all of us can create the same opportunities in life. And this is just a fact of life. Some people have more money. Some people have nicer cars. Some people have families. Some people have more friends. But who cares as long as you're happy in life? If you're not, change it. Look into these houses. I want to see everybody out there who actually wants to buy a home and own a home. Look at some of these options here so that you can actually achieve your goals of home ownership. If you have any more questions about real estate, feel free to reach out. If you want, if you're looking to buy in any of these areas, you want some more information, reach out to me, 289-927-5991. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me. Email is jamiestokesrealestate@gmail.com. I can hook you up with an agent in an area, a top agent, like very good agent who will take care of you, who's respected and trusted, who I trust in these areas to help you look at options for buying. If you're looking for a mortgage agent, I suggest you don't go with banks. Reach out to me. I will hook you up with a mortgage agent or give you some suggestions for a mortgage agent that actually doesn't get paid unless they close a deal as well. So they're just like myself. I don't get any kickbacks or anything like that. So I don't want people to think that I'm, suggesting certain people because it's there's a financial gain or benefit for me, because that's not the case at all. When you create expectations like that in business, things fall apart because sometimes they're not always equal. Sometimes a mortgage agent will be busier than a realtor, or a realtor will be busier than a mortgage agent. So, I do referrals and get referrals without any expectations, and I prefer it to be that way. I'm glad, happy to help out somebody who's in the business who needs a little bit of extra leads or something like that. If I can hand them out and help them out, I always hope that people refer back, but I understand that's, it's not always a tit for tat or 50-50 thing here. Sometimes somebody has more business or isn't able to refer as much, but that's besides the point. I want to see everybody out there looking into and seriously considering moving out of the GTA in order to buy your own home. You can own it, you can do whatever you like there. But check out these other areas. I'm going to go over them quickly again. That's Sault Ste. Marie, North Bay, Windsor, Sarnia, Greater Sudbury, Chatham-Kent, Pembroke, Timmins, Hamilton, and South Dundas. So that's just a quick list. You may be able to find some other places or areas where you can afford. Yes, some of these are hours away. But if you're working remotely, I think there's a little bit of small town charm in some of these areas too. I've traveled through a lot of these places, and people are super friendly. Canadians are friendly to begin with, but check out these areas. If you have any more real estate questions, reach out to me personally. My cell phone number again is 289-927-5991, or my email is jamiestokesrealestate@gmail.com. Now, I've done this video. I've asked for it in the past. I want to grow my audience, so I'm going to ask everybody to please like my videos, subscribe to me, and if you feel this any of my videos are helpful, please share them. I would appreciate that very much. I'd like to grow my channel and help people out with their real estate dreams. Jamie Stokes out. Take care for now. I'll see you in the next video.